Hello everyone, and thank you for clicking on another one of my videos. I am Screen Scene Guru, coming at you with a little bit of UAP news topics. I have recently watched a few news clips on the drone situation we've got going on. I know we've recently had a White House press briefing on the topic, basically trying to diminish the threat and trying to get control over the narrative. I've got a little bit of notes jotted down that I'd like to share with you. So going off my first little bit of topic, we've got Jeremy Corbell discussing on breaking points. You can check this out. This was uploaded yesterday. Um, he was talking about the explanation is fundamentally nonsensical from the White House about these drones. Um, he goes on to say that the FAA would not approve the research flights without communication with the facility heads on the military bases. We know we've got reports of these things flying over Langley and other military installations, as well as this is not the only country that this is happening. We know that this is happening in India, China, the United Kingdom, all over the globe, really. So for this to be kind of dumbed down into this just being a domestic occurrence, that is not the fact. They are happening all across the globe, and that would not be an FAA issue. So I wanted to bring that up. Um, Going on, we've got the drones were not affected by any anti-drone technologies in England. They tried to take them down when they were swarming over military bases in the UK, and all of their anti-defense drone technology that they recently put up, these towers and these sonic weaponry, did not affect the drones whatsoever, which made them consider they are being used by another power source, not a lithium battery that we typically use for our drones in commercial use or private industry. There's some kind of exotic fuel source being used to power these drones because they're going for miles, flying for hours at night without needing to be recharged. That is something that is not explainable for those well aware of the drone capabilities and technologies. So moving on, he then addressed the fact that we have unidentified craft that are loitering over sensitive military and nuclear installations and power stations. Now, we've been aware of this for the last several years. Um, Interesting to hear that just more and more people are coming forward talking about the topic. They need to get this stuff out there. So that's all really good to see and hear. Uh, Also, it's almost comical if it wasn't a serious issue, right? So he describes that if they weren't making so much of a joke out of it, maybe we could get stuff done. Even though that we thought that we were going to be getting disclosure with this new administration, Donald Trump coming in for his second term had a lot of promise for these disclosure advocates, waiting for him to tell us what's going on. But this was just status quo. The president does not know what's happening. They are not reading him in on anything. So that was very fascinating to hear. Um, this action by the White House press secretary is sort of a face slapping for those that believe in disclosure. So yeah, he talked about how that this is not what they wanted to hear. The people of New Jersey that are talking with Ross Colhart, they are continuing to see drones fly over their homes. Um, they are adamantly concerned about the well-being of their properties and their families, loved ones, of course, and it is very disconcerting to hear that the federal government has basically chalked all this up to FAA-approved drone flights, when we've been asking for well over a month what's been happening. For them to come back with this lame duck excuse, no one's having it. So moving on to my second part of this video, we've got the Ross Colhart reality check video. This was uploaded also several days ago. You can go check this out right now, but he discussed with Mayor in New Jersey, Michael Mullum, and he discussed the drone crisis that they are going through right now. The mayor let it be known that there was a secret 3-hour congressional meeting on drones over the last several days. 3-hour meeting makes him believe that there was more to it than just FAA approved drone flights. There was something going on for them to have had a 3-hour meeting with the mayors of the state. So that was very interesting to hear. Um, he goes into how the White House response was disappointing, and it's sad to see that our federal government is failing us. He goes into that. Um, the fact there was past tense flying drones. He reiterates there are still drones flying over his home, over his neighbors. He knows many people that have these things flying over their property. Um, he then goes into he's confused or kind of concerned that these drones are being flown over residential areas in New Jersey, because he talks about how um, there are miles of acreage in the Midwest where the government can fly anything they want to experimentally, doing tests, and they would have no interference from anyone out there in the Midwest because nothing's out there. There's nothing developed. These drones are flying into community centers. They're in some cases swarming entire towns. Very interesting to hear. Um, but yeah, moving on, we got the mayor only met briefing with the FAA. They said they are not ours and not a foreign adversary, but he questions how can they make that determination. Like I said, they don't want to give up any answers right now until they know concrete what's happening. But yeah, another interesting fact is that they detained a Chinese national attempting to get on a plane with a drone that had been flown over a military base. So they know there are current bad actors in the fold that they need to keep an eye on and monitor. Um, so yeah, going on, we've got the Chris Groom Valley documentary. So one of these people that have recently come forward to Ross Colhart was, of course, Valley County Sheriff Chris Groom, who talked about his drone experiences from about 2013 till about the time he retired in 2019 in Nebraska. And he describes orbs. He describes drones being flown in um, hordes, entire fleets of drones flying um, through Nebraska. Um, he describes that they flew through his county, Valley County, south to a town called Arcadia, um, and that him and a sheriff and 2 other off-duty officers, so 4 witnesses total, saw 40 to 60 drones flying over and around Arcadia. And then there was an orb that came into view and the drones scattered. So there is talk about these ships or drones, whatever you want to call them, having a pattern of trackable behavior. Very interesting to hear. Sounds like they have an animalistic um, sort of hierarchy, because the drones come in and survey the area, kind of map it out almost, and then the big orbs come in, and the drones seem to disperse and make way for the giant ones. So that's very interesting to hear too. And he describes these being seen over Nebraska and across the Midwest, which goes all the way from Lincoln County, the Valley County, and on into um, Colorado, even. Yeah, both sides of the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, and Colorado, these drones were flying all across, and nothing was ever talked about them from 2014 to 2019. No one ever discussed them. They were never brought up in the news. The FBI was investigating along with local law enforcement, but they never made a determination of what they were. So a lot of these stories are coming out now about drones being seen for years all across the country, in places that you wouldn't expect them to. So very fascinating to hear. I'm just trying to keep everyone up to date with all the current UAP news coming out. We know that there are whistleblowers coming forward to Luis Elizondo talking about alien languages. So I'm probably going to be making a future video on that. But I want to thank you for clicking on the video and sticking with me. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to Screen Seeing Guru. Thank you very much, and have a good one, guys. Bye bye.